What's it called? I can't tell me.
No, you have to sign your need to know form.
Okay.
It's on the
NDA.
website.
BS.com. How'd you make out today, Emery? Get it all done?
Yeah, we got it completely in and hooked up, and they've got water. So we got a little
That's good,
bit to finish up
It
tomorrow.
went good then.
Yeah,
And you got some
we didn't hit anything.
some paving to do.
How far?
Yes.
How far was the sewer line, 6 feet?
We didn't get to it. We were down 6-7 feet. So we got it into there's like pea stone that's better
Yeah,
than.
yeah.
We got into
So
the
you're
sand and
close.
stone, and so
Yeah.
we were right there. But
Good.
yeah, so whoever has to replace the sewer main, they'll have to cross that water line. But,
How deep was the other one?
I don't know. We crossed it. It looped and then crossed where we dug, and it was shallower than we were.
The galvanized?
Nope, it was plastic. I think where it was probably leaking, there was a fitting, just like and they only had one clamp on each side. And I'd say that was
Was that
probably
a nylon fitting or brass?
nylon.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's why.
under the road. Yep, 6 o'clock. It being 6 o'clock, I call the select board meeting to order. Changes or additions to the agenda? Are there any?
I'd like to add another non-public, same designation, RSA 91A32A.
At the beginning?
Yes, it'll be quick.
All right.
And I'd like to add a brief discussion with the Energy Committee about an amended energy aggregation plan. Approval of an amended energy aggregation plan.
So we could maybe put that third under new business, maybe? I guess the last change I would suggest is under the signature file, the meeting minutes for May 9th. I don't think anybody's seen them yet. I asked Keats if she had posted them, and she said she thought they had, but they're not posted, so we haven't seen it, so we'll do
Okay.
those at the next meeting.
Yep. On to new business.
Get it
Do
done.
the non-public.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, good idea.
Yeah.
I make a motion to go into non-public under RSA 91-A:3 to A Session 1 and RSA 91-A:3 to A Session 2
Second.
at 6:02 p.m. Roll call vote.
Did you say yes?
Barry, yes?
Roberts, yes. 3 yes, 0 no.
6 o'clock.
Thank you.
6:16.
I make a motion to come out of non-public at 6:16 p.m.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Did you say yes?
Barry, yes?
Roberts, yes. 3 yes, 0 no. Minutes are not sealed. Moving on to new business, we'll start with the department head report. Road agent Richard Roberts.
Good, yeah, I'd say that it's been going pretty good. You know, 2 or 3 weeks behind in some of the spring maintenance just because of all the trees and stuff we had down after the last snowstorm. It's got Page Hill paved this week, got it shouldered out today. We probably got another half a day with the guys to do a couple of swales on it to pave those in, and we'll probably get a day or so ourselves stone in some of the ditches. All the roads were open except for Meter Road. We're gonna do that on Monday or Tuesday, clean the trees up and get it all ready. Roads all been graded. Then we got just, you know, probably a week or so of ditch cleaning and culvert cleaning, the normal spring maintenance we're gonna be doing. But other than that, it's going good. And we have Northeast Mechanical Engineers coming in, hopefully the end of the month to crush the gravel up at their town garage. But yeah, it's good. I feel good about it. And we'll go after that and get a couple other projects for the summer, depending how money is, which avenue we'll go. I'm
Yeah.
hoping to do some paving on Depot Road.
Yeah, I heard you mention that last.
Yeah,
A while
that's where I
back.
would like to go, is do
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
get another piece of that done, because, you know, it's like Page Hill, it's the heaviest traveled road in town.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Didn't know
Yeah,
that.
it is. Those two.
You know, you're low on the totem pole.
I guess so.
Come on, you got your hill done last summer,
Oh, yeah.
but it's above you.
It is. Yeah.
Right where-
There's a spot downhill where
Where it's
there's a little hump that I think that hump traps the moisture.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
So that's, I mean, the patches are holding up.
yeah, but it needs, what really needs to be done is ground and some gravel.
Yeah. And maybe bigger ditches in that
Well,
stretch to get
and
the
raise-
water
And raise the
around.
road up too, some, more than anything.
Because rest is okay, but that one stretch is, it seems to be some bedrock doing funny things there.
What I would do is go up the hill and go up over Pease Hill and come down 113.
I wish more people would have done that today.
But in the wintertime, a lot of people do that because it's smoother.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I can never figure out why people, when they come to top of Pease Hill, why they don't come down Great Hill. It's about half the distance if you go back 113.
Yeah.
It's a lot shorter. But, no, I think everything's pretty good. I feel pretty good about it. Is there any questions from the board?
Nope.
Nope, not really.
Good.
We're in good shape.
Okay,
So,
good.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
Have a good night.
moving on to the department head report with police, Chief Littlefield.
Good evening. Been feeding you guys the monthly stats once a month, and things stay pretty consistent and steady for us. We had drug take back here on April 27th. We were actually had a pretty good turnout. We filled 2 boxes and about 40 pounds of unwanted medications, so that was pretty good for us. Some might see on our Facebook page, we have this kind of giving tree that we left our Christmas tree up, and Linda continues to put goodies on for kids to come in and to the lobby and pick off the tree if they want. We did have Gail Maroney donate some stuff for Memorial Day, so the tree's decorated that way, and anybody can stop in the lobby anytime it's open and grab stuff off the tree. We'll make those available for the Memorial Day celebration. That'll be on May 27th here at 11 at the Veterans Memorial. A lot of really what constitutes to be civil matters. People enter into really awful deals, and whether it's verbal or unwritten, they still constitute a agreement between parties. And a lot of times they come to us and want to chase the criminal aspect of it because they want to avoid the civil process. But we often kick it back into their court, whereas once there's an agreement in place, it's generally civil. And the civil process is a little bit easier in some ways. It's all done electronically, and the standard of proof is a lot lower than criminal aspect. Even in a criminal finding, it's a higher burden of proof, and the restitution could be paid out over a long stretch of time. You have, in a civil manner, you have more opportunities to go after, if you win monetary value, you have, ways to go after, like liening property or liening accounts and stuff like that, so.
Why do you think people want to go the civil?
They're not familiar with it, and so they often kind of write it off as being criminal, and they kind of put it in our lap, and it eats up a lot of our time just to take in their documents, look at what they have, and then we kind of end up kicking it back to them and saying, yeah, this is just a bad agreement between parties. There's other opportunities in the civil matter that you can even seize back property, called a writ of replevin, and it's just filing with the court and setting sets up hearing between parties, and the judge awards one way or the other. So it would be great if people would it's all, the information's all on the DOJ website for the state. All the forms are there, electronic filings are there. You can go into the clerk's office anytime, and they're willing to help people out. They've got computers right in the clerk's office, so they can point you right to that, sit down and work it through. We're always willing to hear it out and, point them in the right direction if need be, but, so yeah, we seem to run into that quite often. I just wanted to make mention of scans. We haven't really had any major ones recently, but, they're just so many scams out there, and they're so believable and they're so realistic. I mean, people need to understand that it's these people's full-time job to do scams, and they have quite a spiel that they say, and they know all the things. I mean, I've gone to people, I've got calls from the bank that will say, hey, I think our customer's getting scammed, can you have a conversation? And I'll talk to them, and they will not believe me, and they'll just continue like giving money away. The banks are pretty good, they're on top of things, but every now and then stuff slips through. But as a gentle reminder, generally if somebody's asking you to pay with some sort of gift card means, 9 out of 10 times, that's probably 10 out of 10 times, it's a scam. So avoid that at all costs. And the last thing I just wanted to share was our neighbors to the west of us, Sandwich. I hope I'm not speaking out of turn publicly here, but I think it's public knowledge. Chief Sean Barney was a sergeant here in Tamworth a number of years ago, did a great job. He went over to Sandwich PD, became sergeant there, eventually became chief, and he will be retiring on the 23rd, next week. So kudos to him, he's done a great job, good fit for the town of Sandwich. He hired Carl Cook, who was an officer that I had hired here, worked as a patrolman, did a great job for us. He went over there as a sergeant, and Carl will be the chief starting May 27th, Memorial Day, so he's going to get sworn in then. So kudos to both of them. Carl's a good fit for that community, and he's done a good job. He's helped us out a bunch. Certainly have appreciated. He's sat in on many of our hiring boards and stuff like that. So yeah, kudos to them publicly, and look forward to working with the change over there. And it's nice to know there's a good transition there. So that's it.
Are most of the scams that you get questions about, are they phone or internet, or is it just a
A lot
combination?
of phone ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of cold calls.
I got a really good one just last week from some guy that said he was with Bank of America.
Yeah.
And I don't have an account with Bank of America, but I let it play out for a while, and it was
good.
very well structured.
Yeah, they're very good, and they know like what we're gonna ask, so they have the counters for that to tell them, well, when you're asked, say this. They know what the banker's gonna ask, so they instruct them what to say to the banker. Majority of like phone ones. I mean, we get them in our emails. My personal emails. It's like your Netflix account, whatever is renewal, whatever. Well, the red flag of mine is I don't have with that email. So, but they make it look real, and a lot of people, especially the elderly, are just willing to fall for it, unfortunately. So, and for every for every scam that goes away, a new one pops up. I mean, there's just new methods and whatnot. So
They've gotten really good at it.
and it's very easy to like, a lot of data is out there, so it's very easy to research people, date of births, addresses, phone numbers, even bank account numbers. They're out there, so it's really nothing for people to commit these crimes. And unfortunately, the majority are of international, and they are in countries that have asylum with that country, and even if the feds are able to track them down, they really can't do anything with them. Although I just read an article about the grandmother scam, where they actually were able to arrest somebody on that, and were able to track down hundreds of thousands of dollars that were scammed out. So it's a win every now and then, but unfortunately it's just such a common occurrence.
Yeah.
Hard to keep up with those.
A question: have you ever had reports of people living in Hemingway State Forest, camping long-term, kind of living there? Has that ever come up?
I have not.
Okay.
Should we know
Well,
that?
have you been up there where the three-sided shelter is below the fire tower?
Yeah.
The cabin
Yeah.
was torn down a couple years ago. But
Yeah, so
the little
I'll,
shelter's still there.
to back up a little bit, the cabin, yes, we
Yeah.
had somebody removed a number of years now. We used to go up periodically and check the cabins and check the towers when the weather got good. I eventually asked the BSA to do something about the cabins because they weren't secured and they were becoming vandalized, and either to bring them up to, better standards or get rid of them, and they got rid of them.
Yeah.
So, which is nice because it just creates
Yeah.
what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think the lean-to, no, I mean, I haven't seen it in the lean-to. But
Someone has been, I wouldn't say living there, but has left some belongings there and is frequenting it.
okay.
So I did report it to the Conservation Commission, and they were going to chat with the state. Because it seems a little creepy when you walk through the woods and somebody's sleeping there on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's what it's for, but obviously for long-term,
Right.
if they're setting up residence there, that's a little bit different,
Yeah.
so.
So just curious if that had ever come up, maybe in the cabin, but not in the lean-to. But now the lean-to is all that's left.
Yeah, so,
So I guess the Conservation Commission's going to reach out to the state and
Yeah.
figure out if they need to do something.
yeah, and we can take a boat up in there and take a look too,
Okay.
so.
So I think it's more of a weekend thing, but I'll let you know if it's
Yeah,
an issue.
sounds good.
Sure.
Can I just say, because I walk there with my dog kind of frequently, and so I've been noticing for the last couple months that somebody's been there from time to time, and they've got the fire now where it's like directly under one of the timbers of the lean-to, because it's closer to where they're sleeping and
Yeah,
hanging out,
yeah.
and so it's a little bit of a fire danger, and just kind of trash strewn around, and yeah, so I'm hesitant about walking my dog there now, just because I don't know what the situation is. So,
Yeah, it's something of interest for sure.
Any leads at all on job applicants?
Unfortunately, no.
Yeah.
The pool is very shallow, and it's kind of more like catching a lucky break. There's a lot of some upcoming shuffle. I know one of the deputies from the sheriff's office will be going to take the sergeant's position in Sandwich. There's people retiring, but there's just not people backfilling those empty spots.
Yeah.
Bartlett has had a great job at finding people and keeping people. I haven't really figured out the recipe. I had a long discussion with Chief Keaton, who also part-time for the town of Tamworth years ago. No real specific recipe. He kind of had been handpicking some. He went to some of the colleges and put out stuff. We just kind of reposted onto Indeed, and it just kind of gets more of the same.
Yeah.
So I don't want to waste a lot of time in interviews that I don't think are going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
So we're still hopeful somebody's going to pop in the door, but wait and see.
Okay. Got anything?
I think that's about it for us.
Thanks for
All
coming.
right.
Thank you for the update.
Thank you guys.
Have a good night. Moving on to the Energy Commission. Committee, sorry.
but thanks for the upgrade.
Energy.
Yeah, so I'm
Sorry.
coming before you tonight with a request to approve a small amendment to our energy aggregation plan. We filed that with the Public Utilities Commission prior to bringing the vote to town meeting for Tamworth Energy Community Power. And since that time, we've discovered that whereas we thought that only Eversource served residents of Tamworth, there are 5 residents in Tamworth who are served by the New Hampshire Electric Cooperative. And so the amendment, basically it's 2 sentences in the entire 60-page plan that add reference to the New Hampshire Electric Cooperative. So one of them is just says the electric distribution utilities serving Tamworth are Eversource and the New Hampshire Electric Cooperative, NHEC. That's one sentence, and then the other sentence is, and I'll read the full sentence, but it's just the second part of this. That the program will serve as the default electricity supplier for all Eversource customers on a default opt-out basis, semicolon, New Hampshire Electric Cooperative customers will only be enrolled on an opt-in basis, period. So those are the two
So
changes.
there's 5 residences up in the Ferncroft area.
I'm not confident about where they're located exactly. There may be some at the far end of Great Hill Road
Okay.
before the
On the sandwich
sandwich
line.
line.
Yep.
Yeah, it's basically people who are kind of on the sandwich line. It
Yeah.
didn't make sense for Eversource to go that way because the cooperative was already like
Yeah.
right there.
So this plan is the energy aggregation plan.
That's right. And that is the formal name for Tamworth Community Power, like that plan that governs Tamworth Community Power.
I make a motion we amend the energy aggregation plan as described.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Do you say yes?
Barry, yes?
Roberts, yes. 3 yes, 0 no.
Great.
Thank you. for
Thanks,
coming in.
and probably gonna need that in writing
Yep.
so that I could send that to the Community Power Coalition of New Hampshire to forward on to the PUC.
Yeah. So
thank you for your
Michaela and I
time.
will work on the minutes and we'll be done in a couple days.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Moving on to, thank you for coming in tonight.
Yeah,
Thanks.
take care.
Moving on to the 250th celebration signing of the Declaration of Independence. Is somebody not here that was gonna, or is it who's?
I'm not sure who brought that to the agenda.
Keats did.
Was it Keats?
Keats, and
Yeah.
it came from the library.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I guess the state reached out to her about, do we have any
Plans.
celebrations planned? And I'll admit we don't, because I didn't know it was the 250th.
I didn't
I don't know if anybody, I think they're making close to every town in New Hampshire, because people hadn't noticed it was coming.
Well, it's
Like
not
that.
until the 2026, I'm pretty sure.
That's a long way off.
Oh yeah,
But
'cause
that's why
19
they're planning it now.
1776, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why they're planning it now and putting it on your radar so you can be aware that in 2 years was it July 4th, 1776?
I don't know.
Is when the, yeah,
You would
anyways.
think.
You would think so.
Well, it's complicated.
Well, it's on our calendar now,
Okay.
Yeah,
and we'll work on something.
that gives us time.
Yes.
They were saying that every business was involved in the 1970s in Tamworth and that everybody just like got it. So like that would be a great idea to get every local business involved.
76, I don't remember that. Must not have been in town.
Yeah.
66 was the,
Yeah.
Oh,
Was
that
it-
might be what it was. I don't.
66 was the 200th anniversary of
Yeah.
Tamworth.
Well,
Yeah,
you're the
the
only guy
70.
here who was here at the time, Carl,
Yeah,
so.
and then 250th was a good celebration too.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just what the state was saying, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll work at the library and come up with something.
Perfect.
Moving on to, oh, sorry, my phone. Moving on to the evaluation update letter, evaluation.
Right. So she sent us, what, 3 different options?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or you sent us 3 different options.
Yes, I did.
I definitely like the idea of keeping it as short as possible. I'm with Leanne on that.
Because if it's too long, people just aren't gonna read it.
They're not gonna read, I mean, 2 pages is more than most people wanna read.
Yeah, most people are gonna open that up and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
revised version was one side of one piece of paper?
No.
Yeah.
Or was it two
Oh, I
sides
think it
of
was-
one?
Oh, is it 2 sides?
At least it was one piece of
I
paper.
That's,
Evaluation, it won't load now.
yep, it's not loading here either.
Oh,
Oh, I got it. It would be 2 sides, yes.
yeah.
So-
I guess
Yeah.
stuff like that, would be really hard to squeeze it down to one side.
No, yeah, I mean, and Keats, you know, to her credit, she understands it very well and was
Yeah.
trying to explain it thoroughly. But, I mean, that there's a main point that's
Yeah.
being made.
Yeah.
The values are gonna go up, the tax rate's gonna go down, so don't freak out.
Right. Because the law requires that it be revenue neutral.
Right.
That's what keeps the, keeps
And-
the town.
The other part I liked about the letter is that we had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, the state kind of runs that.
Yeah, it's the DRA and whoever you hire to do the assessing. But,
So I think the shorter version makes sense, because it's increases the
Yeah.
chances that somebody's gonna read it.
Yep.
yeah,
So do we need to vote on that?
well, I'd make a motion to accept the, which one are we talking?
short
about?
version.
The short version.
Second, I'll second that.
Sure. Okay. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Do you say yes?
There, yes?
Roberts, yes. Lee, yes. 0, no. No old business. Moving on to the administrative report with the bank balance.
Okay, so the bank balance is,
2 million. It's right on your,
oh, it's on this one, my bad. 2,203,978.
Moving on to the signature file.
I'm gonna skip the meeting minutes, because we took that out.
So, I make a motion to approve the payment in lieu of taxes for the Housing Initiative of New England Cooperation / Tamworth Senior Housing Associates LP.
Second.
Any discussion?
Do you know offhand how much the pilot is? How much is that?
And is that Remick Acres or what is that one?
It sounds like it, but it wasn't clear.
Hold on. Give me a second.
Yeah, Housing Initiative of New
Here we go. Is that amount right? '84 Main Street, Tamworth, New Hampshire.
And that's us.
That's us, yeah.
Oh, that's the town of Tamworth.
Yeah.
Business address is 264 US Route 1, Building 3. Oh, that's. Yeah, that must be.
Oh, yeah,
That's where
their office.
Yeah,
Yeah.
their
Out of
office.
town.
I've just never heard of Housing Initiative of New England Corp.
Why does it not?
There is a
Those-
housing initiative that's in an A9 form, I know that.
I think it might be
Isn't that the
Remick
house?
Acres.
But
They've got a little logo there, or is that the town logo?
that's a town logo,
Hmm,
just not in color.
Remick
Yeah.
Acres does have senior housing as a nonprofit.
yeah.
I don't have an amount there.
I'd say let's put that off to the next meeting so we know what we got.
Okay.
I'm curious about it. I'll learn more about it. So let's
You want
skip
to send
that.
your motion? Who had the motion? Want to
I
rescind
think
it?
it was yours.
Oh, was it me?
Yeah.
It was my motion.
Okay.
I rescind my motion.
Thank you.
I make a motion to accept the veterans exemption for map 216, lot 91.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Did you say yes?
Barry, yes?
Roberts, yes. 3 yes, 0 no. I make a motion to approve the federal access property cooperative agreement with, this is for the fire department. What is that?
It must be the way that they can get access to surplus federal
Surplus,
property.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'll
Yeah.
second that.
Roll call vote.
Did you say yes?
Barry, yes?
Roberts, yes. 3 yes, 0 no. I make a motion to approve the fire permit District 13 reappointment list 2025.
Well, I don't understand what it is, but it sounds pretty innocuous. Second.
Roll call vote.
Did you say yes?
Barry, yes?
Roberts, yes. 3 yes, 0 no. I make a motion to approve the accounts payable in the amount of $303,066.65. I'm assuming $250 would be the school.
Yeah.
Might not be here, but I'll take a quick look. Is that in here? Is the accounts payable in here, or is it?
Elaine gave us this. She wanted everyone to look at the actual checkbook. There's also this manifest signature form.
It's not listed out, well, 250 would be the school payment, and then it doesn't sound like there's a lot of
Everything
that.
else.
Yeah.
Was there a second?
I'll second.
Roll call vote.
Did you say yes?
Here, yes.
Roberts, yes. 3 yes, 0 no. The cash used to date is $4,171,591.61. Select board update, starting with Richard.
We had a brief meeting on the 9th, so I might repeat myself if I mentioned this before. Did we have select board updates?
I
It was
think
very
we did,
short
but it
meeting.
was, I think we all said nothing, pretty much.
Yeah, okay. On May 5th was the car expo at CMI Tamworth. There were over 100 people attended. I was really pleased and surprised. When I showed up at 9:30 and the first parking lot was already mostly full.
Wow.
And they had other parking lots lined up. There were at least 10 classic cars and at least 20 electric vehicles. Mostly electric vehicles were brought by dealers, but there were a few individuals that brought their electric cars, including a Cybertruck that I'd seen them on car carriers, but I'd never seen them driving around before. But everything from a Cybertruck to a Model A Ford, which was pretty cool. And the interesting thing is people got a chance to sit in the car and be driven around the racetrack. So that's pretty cool.
That's neat.
So the CMI Tamworth thought it was a great success. They provided really the majority of the support just to get people to the right place. Because there's 3 entrances to the facility, and it takes a while to... You don't want to be going off where you're not supposed to be going as a member of the public. So they had several people just making sure everybody got to the right place. But people with cars love to talk about cars, so it was a big success, and I think it may become an annual thing. They've already been invited back either for this fall or next spring.
Cool.
On that was May 5th. May 7th, there was a community power meeting at the Union Hall to, again, let more people know about community power. This was, I think, an important meeting because the early meetings were public hearings when people didn't really know what was happening. Now everybody has gotten a letter from Community Power of New Hampshire. So that triggered a lot of interest. People don't come to our meetings and didn't know that their power supplier may change. There were about 20 people that appeared. It was more than the public hearings before. It was a combination of online and in person. And it was a good chance for people to understand that you don't really need to do anything. You'll still get your Eversource bill, but part of the bill will say Community Power of New Hampshire. We have 2 electric bills because our house is on one side of the road and the barn on the other side. And Eversource wouldn't let us have 1 bill. It has to be 2 because it's across the street, which is very annoying. So we got a letter from Community Power for the barn bill. If you have solar panels, you didn't get that letter from Community Power, but we did get one for the barn across the street. So we called them to make sure we got the right letter, and it's the service across the street. And just an example of, we called them up to talk to customer service in Community Power, and there's very few experiences you have with a utility company that are pleasant, but this one was pleasant. The person knew what they were talking about and was very organized, and it was a pleasant experience, so that's good to hear, because you don't always get that. And somebody was right there on the phone, and you could tell it was somebody like right around here, not some far away place in a call center. So I feel like the customer service was good, and I think, going forward, that's a handy thing to have. So that was my experience with Community Power of New Hampshire. I had a transfer station meeting on site with Steve and Matt Rose, who's the solid waste planner for the Lakes Region Planning Commission. It was very informative, talking about various things we could do to make the transfer station better. And he used to be an operator of a transfer station in New York State, so his experience is very, very handy, and it's free. Whereas if you meet with your engineers, they charge you for that. So Matt was very handy to have that advice. After our last meeting, I reached out to the main scale company and we met. Steve was not available, so Willie and I met with Tom Bowder of the main scale company. They have offices in Auburn, Maine and Concord, New Hampshire. And he had been to our transfer station years ago to look at where scale might go. This guy knows everything about transfer stations. He was ready to like redesign the whole thing right there as he was standing there, because he's been everywhere and seen transfer stations. They did the scale in Ossipee, and they did one recently in Freiburg, and a lot of cities and towns in Maine. We talked about traffic flow and where a scale could go, and there's a few places it would fit. But it seems like the best place is keeping the same traffic flow as you come up on the right side of the containers, up on the right side up against the hill, which is whatever you can do to keep the traffic flow as it is handy for people. I think to make sure there's enough room there, we need to shove the hill back a little bit, build a little retaining wall, get some drainage, but there's enough space there for it. We talked about switching all the cans around so they face the middle, so people don't stop there to unload their cans and their cardboard. Just keep them moving, and then they can loop around and they can load, they can deposit whatever the things are, whether it's a TV or tires or a printer or cardboard. Do that all in the middle, and I like that idea. It keeps people moving on the outside. You don't want somebody parked to unload their cans while somebody's trying to get by and somebody's trying to get on the scale. It's a little tight there, but we can make some room. And also, the cans get loaded and dumped from that side. So you don't want to be crashing into the scale, getting rid of all your tin cans. So what Tom said, yeah, all the cans should just be angled a bit. So then it's not 90 degrees to the scale. So it just sounded very simple, like it could happen very easily. You just need to have the money, which we have. And the price for a 40-foot scale is $60,000, which is pretty cheap.
Yeah.
That does not include all the other things to make the scale work, like earth moving, paving, concrete, and wiring.
Yeah.
So that could almost double the total cost, but we assumed the cost was over $100,000. So it is somewhere $100 to $110,000, $120,000 total for a 40-foot scale. You could decrease some of those costs if you hired local people to do some of the work. So we need to consider that as to, do we have local people that can do that would drive the cost down a little bit. Main Scales would still act as a general contractor. They will still make sure everything works. And they have several lines of scales. This is Rice Lake scales. He said most municipalities choose that because it has the longest warranty. It's a 12-year warranty. Anything goes wrong in 12 years, they fix it for free.
Now, is the 40-foot scale, is that like a full size?
It won't fit a tractor trailer.
But it'll fit like
It'll fit a 10-wheeler.
Yeah.
It'll fit a pickup truck with a trailer behind it,
Yep.
etc. So his suggestion was, don't go with a tractor trailer, you don't need that. A 40-foot trailer is fine. Certainly, in the past, we've always wondered how big would it be. I think if we were to get in the business of full-scale recycling and baling and storage of bales, then you might want a longer scale. I doubt at this point whether we're going to be that kind of transfer station because we don't have the space for it or the money to build the building for it. But certainly no decisions have been made, but he said 40-foot scale would meet your needs. And so there are other vendors. There's at least one in New Hampshire, but this is the one we've met with, and he's like the scale expert. When we get to the point we want to make a deal, we probably need to receive bids because it's a lot of money, and we can see how things compete. But certainly, what I told him is our plan is to have a plan in place this year for a scale and a bathroom and workspace for our employees, and we may start to implement this year or next year, but it will all be done this year or next. One thing he suggested is if you're going to buy a scale, don't wait till the last second to order it because the prices go up, and he'll be informed by the manufacturer all the prices are going up by next week or something. So at some point, when we're sure what we want, we should put down a deposit, which is 20%, and that just locks in the price. So we've got a transfer station improvement committee next week. We've got a meeting with Sanborn Head the week after to try to figure out what we can do with the site we have. And then we'll be able to move forward on what we do with the scale and everything else. So, that's it for the transfer station. That's all you got.
Okay.
Anything from you?
I just had, went to the library trustees meeting on the 13th. Let's see, the only things of interest, guess there's a UNH Center for Digital Health Innovation grant, and they are doing a, what is it called? Oh, pilot. We're a pilot site for this. So between the nurses and the library, they're going to have a certain amount of medical equipment that can be loaned out, such as blood pressure cuffs and I don't know what all, but a certain amount of equipment that you can take home and bring back. So that was good, and then there was quite a long discussion about they've been using QuickBooks desktop for their payroll, and that version is getting
Oh, they're
switched.
shutting it down.
They're shutting it down. So they had a long discussion about, it'll be a QuickBooks Online, but whether to continue to do payroll in-house or hire it out. I'm not sure they've come to that decision yet. Conway backed out of the idea of the bookmobile, so now it's Tamworth and Ossipee seem to be the only remaining towns interested in the bookmobile, which still could work. I mean, they're the towns that it sort of makes the most sense for anyhow. Large towns, rural.
More spread out.
Yeah. And they did something at the library that I hadn't heard of, and I don't know if it's something we should consider. They reviewed all their job descriptions and updated them, for any employees. And I know that when we have, in the hiring process we've occasionally said, oh, we should
Well,
change
that's a
that.
convenient time to do it.
Yeah, but that they sort of look at them annually
Oh.
and say, are our job descriptions accurate? Are there any changes we should make, whether it's... Yeah, so anyway, that was it from the library. Anything for you?
Nothing for me tonight.
Okay.
Moving on to public input. Is there any public input?
I did have a quick question. Do you have Primex, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Are you aware that there's going to be a Homeland Security, cybersecurity compliance audit coming up? And if you don't know, just put that in your memory bank and make sure you're looking into that. Make sure you're ready. Thank you.
Any other public input? Hearing none. No more non-publics, so motion to adjourn at
6:57.
6:57.
All right.
See you in 2 weeks.
Is there a signature piece for the payroll and accounts payable?
So, I'm not sure there was, but Elaine gave us this. She took it and switched it out. There's this.
It kind of looks like this, but there's like a initial, excuse me, like an initial spot for each of us.
Not in the blue folder.
Well, I don't.
I wonder, I think I recall doing it last week, so maybe it's not.
Oh, we had a meeting a week ago.
Right, so maybe
That
it's
was,
we
But there
didn't.
was,
but that was not,
But we,
there was accounts payable, but there was no payroll this week.
Yeah.
Payroll's next week.
right.
There is accounts payable.